Hello world, this is JDP, this time with a Minecraft video. I've never really done any of these before, but let's try. I made something pretty neat and I'd want to share it. I've recently gotten into brewing and potions and all that stuff, and I've always been a fan of automations, so I wanted to make a automated brewing stand, and this is it. Pretty standard. I suppose there are a lot of designs like this out there. A simple setup with a brewing stand, an output hopper, and an input hopper here. We have chests containing your potions and a chest containing water bottles. Now when you want to brew up a new batch, you push this wooden button. The brewed potions get pulled out. We get water bottles in there, and automatically we get the right ingredients in this queue hopper over here. So, how does it work? First of all, this button, it needs to be a wooden button. It can't be a stone button, because it needs the longer pulse of a wooden button to completely empty out the brewing stand here. So, what happens when you push it? This line of redstone turns on, meaning that it will lock the supply hopper here, so it won't try to fill the brewing stand while the button is on. It also will turn off this torch, turning off this bit of redstone, turning off this block, which means that the output hopper will be unlocked. So, for the duration of the pulse, it empties out the brewing stand, but it doesn't try to refill it. If it did, you'd get water bottles passed through continuously, and they end up all over the place. It also, the redstone signal travels up this line of droppers, and they fire out a single item in their inventory, and they all have the ingredients. So they go into this line of droppers, they feed into the queue dropper, and finally into the brewing stand. So that's it, pretty standard. Oh yeah, and I've also built in a small refilling station here. You see we have water on top of a hopper that feeds into the supply chest. Now to refill that, you'll need to have a completely full inventory and a stack of water bottles. Let's see, bam. So you just hold right click and you'll spew out the water bottles into the hopper, and they will automatically be fed into the cash chest. Yeah, this is all well and good. This is a standard setup. It's good for when you just start out your world, and actually in my survival world, this is the only setup that I have. But I wanted to make something for the end game, something a bit over the top. And this is it. This is the Hall of Potions. It has every single potion in the game, and it will automatically restock these potions. So we have an entire chest full of potions of swiftness. If I take out potions, it has its own dedicated brewing cell over here that will automatically brew up a new batch and refill the chest. So, in order to do this, I had to make a one-wide tileable version of this setup over here. So, here it is. This is a one-wide tileable brewing cell. We get a input signal here, just a pulse, just like the wooden button, but generated a little bit more automatically. It feeds into here, unpowers these two blocks, meaning that the output hopper, that's the hopper here, gets unpowered, empties out the brewing stand, and this torch turns on, powering or blocking this hopper for the duration of the pulse. And it also travels up here and fires up each of the ingredient droppers here. Now, with the setup over here, there is the possibility of a small bug where the ingredients would not be passed down into the queue hopper in the order that you'd expect. say you have ingredient 1, 2, and 3. In the Q hopper, you'd get ingredient 1 immediately put into the brewing stand, but then you'd have ingredient 3 and 2, and not 2 and 3. For some reason there's a bug there, but it is persistent, so you'll just have to switch around the order of your ingredients in the droppers. Now for this setup, the bug isn't there. I've tested it for quite a bit. None of the cells over there have the issue, and it doesn't really matter which rotation you have. So that's good news. This will always be ingredient 1, ingredient 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now notice that this can hold 6 ingredients. To my knowledge, there isn't really a potion that requires anything more than 5 ingredients, but yeah, this way it's future-proof, and you can even extend it. Well, actually, you can't extend it because you need in this queue. It limits the amount of ingredients that you can have. You can at maximum have 5 ingredients here plus 1 in the brewing stand, meaning maximum of 6 ingredients. But anyway, since the largest number of ingredients for single potions is 5, it doesn't really matter. Now, to further automate this thing, and we have the final output chest here. When it gets full, it starts to fill over, meaning that we will have potions in this hopper. If we have that, then this comparator will be on, firing off this repeater, turning off this torch, meaning that this sticky piston will retract, and suddenly the whole cell won't be recognizing any input signals anymore. So it actually puts itself in a non-receptive state. That way it won't just mindlessly refill. It will stop once this chest is full. And I also grab the signal here onto this bit of redstone. That's not really needed. That's only needed for a bit of optimization in the entire setup here. Yeah. For the input signal, you could just use a wooden butt, but I wanted it to continuously try to restock, so I set it up with a simple dropper clock here. Right now it's, well, hopper clock it's called. Right now it's locked. I can unlock it, turning off this torch, and we start passing on the items into this dropper here. And 4 stacks, well, 3 stacks, that's more than enough. You could maybe do with 2.5 stacks, but you need to give it a bit of time before you send another pulse down the line. But this kind of clock, it only emits a short pulse from this torch here. We need a long pulse, so I use this comparator, a pulse lengthener, to get a signal that I pass down the input line here. And we also have a manual override, so let's just turn off the clock. I can send a signal. Ah, you can see. Get put into here. Oh, the supply dropper here. It isn't fed from a chest centrally. Well, it is fed from a central chest. We have a supply chain running through here that allows you to have a centralized cache of water bottles. It's a lot easier to refill that way. So, that's pretty much how I've implemented it over here. We have a long line of cells, and they're all in the non-receptive state, you can see. Meaning that this line is off. If any of them is in a receptive state, this line will be on. So this line is actually a giant OR gate. Let's see, over here, I grab the signal from that line, also from the cells on the other side, put it to this inverter, going up, travels in and powers this line, and this is the locking line for the clock. And yeah, So right now, none of the cells are in a receptive state. If any of them were, this line would be off and the clock would be unlocked. This is just a measure to get rid of a bit of lag, because, well, this is a giant lag machine. You need a computer in beast mode to run this, but no matter. And I've also have the centralized storage of bottles here, and yeah, just a normal, the same setup as I had in the other cell over there. Bit of water, you hold right click, you spill out the water bottles into this water stream, and they get carried this way, get put into this item elevator. And this wasn't made by me, it was made by the guys on the zip crowd. And yeah, I'll include a link in the description. Won't go any more into detail. So they go up the item elevator, go into this water vortex, and from that they're picked up and put into the storage here. And yeah, and I'll also grab a bit of output from the storage and power this line of well, redstone lamps. You can see, if this chest would be empty, this comparator would be off, meaning that the lamp would be off. So this way you have kind of a display to show you how full is your cache of water bottles. So yeah, I think this was it. Yeah, more or less it. I'll make sure to include World Download in the description so you can look it over a bit more in detail. There might be a couple of bits and pieces that I've forgotten. Keep in mind, this is my first video, and you can probably hear by my voice that English is not my first language. So this has been hard, but it's been fun. So thank you very much for your time.